One big reaction, like from today, what we've seen so far. Obviously, some games are live right now. Apple Cup about to kick off, some other big games. But so far, your one big reaction from the day.
Clemson is really dead. Okay, and let me tell you what I mean.
Okay.
So there was a thought earlier this year after the Florida State game that Alabama was dead.
Mm-hmm.
Wasn't just the result of the game itself.
Dabo Swinney's alma mater, by the way. Even some
Right.
Alabama people might have thrown his name out as a good candidate for that job.
Right. There was some thought that they were dead. But then you saw that maybe Alabama didn't put their best on the field. Maybe Florida State's a lot better than we thought, whatever, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. We have had several different versions of Clemson failing now.
This is Ringer Tailgate presented by FanDuel, and college football Saturdays are already delivering. Every game means something right now. Ranking shift, upsets hit, and the best place to stay on top of it all, FanDuel. Whether you're riding a noon kickoff or betting the late games, FanDuel lets you bet it your way. Same game parlays, live betting, player props, alt lines, whatever your angle is, it lives in the app. So if you're watching all the action, bet on it now with FanDuel. Download the app and head to FanDuel.com/tailgate and make every Saturday count. The Ringer is committed to responsible gaming. Please visit rg-help.com to learn more about the resources and helplines available, and listen to the end of the episode for additional details.
Clemson failing in the big primetime game against LSU. Clemson failing in the game that they should win. They came back and win. Now Clemson failing in the bounce back game today against Syracuse. They just don't have it. There are enough glaring holes on their roster and really enough head-scratching decisions made by their coaching staff to say that Clemson is this year's Florida State. And when I say not this year, I'm talking about last year's Florida State this year. It's going to be a rough season for Clemson, man.
Yeah, I mean, there's been a lot of talk about Arch Manning, like not living up to expectations, the Heisman front runner and all that. Well, Clemson is the team version of the Arch disappointment, because there were a lot of people that thought Clemson had the talent to be the national championship contender this year. Like, they had all that talent coming back on defense. They got a guy who, again, allegedly is a first-round draft pick prospect in Cade Klubnik. But, I mean, I haven't seen it. Syracuse, and we were in our little text group, Syracuse scored first, and I was like, man, Syracuse is dogging these boys. Like, I mean, they looked like the superior team. Like, it wasn't like they got by on some bullshit or anything. Like, they actually controlled the game from the opening snap. Like, they were by far the better team. And I mean, if we're gonna hold experts accountable,
oh yeah,
head, damn it. If we're gonna be serious about this head, then all the people that told us that Clemson was supposed to be really good, they have something to answer for, because it's shocking how bad they are. Like, it's one thing, they'll always do it. I'll lose to Georgia Tech one year and Syracuse another year. You're not supposed to lose Georgia Tech and Syracuse in the same year, let alone back to back.
And be down against Troy. I mean, right? There's just been so many moments where you're just like, what is happening at Clemson? And right, we tabbed them. Everybody tabbed them right at the beginning of the season. The most talented team in the country. Yep. 3 future top 6 picks. One of them was Cade Klubnik, maybe the number 1 pick. We joked heading into the show that we're going to have the Carson Beck Award for the stock free fall. Cade Klubnik. Man. I think you won it by week 4. Congratulations.
But it's definitely right. But I want to read his line. I want you guys to tell me what stands out. It doesn't look as bad as what you guys would think it would. I'm going to read his line. 37 of 60. 61%, 363 yards passing, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. That's for the game that was just played. What does that line tell you guys?
Well, for me, that they don't think they can run the ball effectively. Why would you have Cade Klubnik drop back 60 times? I mean, again, they've been behind all day, but 60 times?
Yeah. 60 times. 60 times he threw the ball. The reality is their lack of a running game. The team isn't not playing well. The team is fundamentally flawed. They're fundamentally flawed. They have a defense that gets pushed around, that is supposed to set a new line of scrimmage with the talent that they have on the defensive line. That does not happen. Syracuse didn't have any problem today protecting or getting what they needed to have a productive offense. Then they cannot run the ball. They can't run the ball. They're a one-dimensional team, and because of that, it makes everything that they do on offense very easy to coach against. The team at its base, fundamentally, it's not an emotional thing. It's not a Dabo stuck in the past thing where he might be stuck in the past from roster construction as far as that standpoint is concerned. But it's just not a well put together football team. They have too many big holes.
I think they read too much of the press clippings also. I mean, I think they bought and sort of drank the Kool-Aid that everybody was selling about this team and said, hey, Cade's so good and Cade's so that. But Cade works when the defense works. I think that's a great point, Fan. When the defense is setting the game, they're able to control time of possession. That's how they wear you down. That's how they win. When you're chasing, it's just not the same Clemson that we've seen under Dabo. And also, we had that moment on the sideline where they cut to Dabo. Syracuse comes back down and scores again after it felt like Clemson got back in the game, got a touchdown, had settled in a little bit. Oh, here they come. They're going to get it together. And Syracuse scores another touchdown. They cut the Dabo, and he just gives the unbelievable. Like, he even seems shocked about what's happening right now.
He looked morose on the sideline this evening. Like, I thought he was going to cry. Like, I'm not just joking. Like, he looked like he was biting his lip. Like he had lost something really important to him. I mean, and he did. Because you can't really pop your shit, Clemson. If Clemson is tired of winning, I'll go somewhere else. You can't pop your shit and then go out there and lose like that, right?
That was the quote. He said he was 55 years old. He had plenty of more football ahead of him. I mean, it was kind of it was a very grandstanding quote, right, Van? Like that kind of felt like a message, and then this is the backup to that message. Not very good.
Well, it actually seemed like he was daring them to fire him. So the whole nation, the whole college football culture is talking about whether or not this is the end of Dabo Swinney at Clemson. We're discussing this. When you think about 5 or 6 years ago, what the peak blue blood champagne and chandelier programs in college football were, Alabama and Clemson. Those were the two that you could count on being in the playoffs and making a run. Of course, Ohio State's always there as well, right? But Clemson and Alabama were going back and forth for the elite recruiting classes, the big games, all of that stuff. Dabo, looking at the mortality of his team's classic run in its face, and he raged against the dying of the light. He said, fire me. I'll go build what we've had somewhere else, right? I'll go do it somewhere else. Then they got on the field, and he reminded people that it is, in fact, over, or at least it seems that way, because I want you guys to remember a couple other things. They're doing this with a highly touted quarterback. It's not like Clemson went out and couldn't get the big QB to come sign with them, or couldn't get the big DN or the big D tackle. Those guys are on the team. They have a lot of those players. They just don't have enough of those players at really specific and key spots for them not to go out there and not look like they know how to play.
And that's the issue right now for everybody that's kind of in that fan base, because we all remember Clemson before Dabo, and that's why the threat kind of holds some weight, when he kind of does that grandstanding, everyone's like, he's not wrong. I mean, he took over as an interim. They were in a really downward spot. I mean, Saban goes back to Alabama around the same time, funny enough. They were on a similar kind of kindred connection there. But it is strange because it does seem like he's breaking, right, Joel?
Yeah, man. I mean, I said my joke was that he did the Nolan Richardson, Yeah. If you want to fire me, go ahead and do it. And it's like, hey, man, they might
fire you. You've warned plenty of coaches. You told Deshaun Foster the week before.
Right. And but the thing is, and I don't want to blow my counter of the day or whatever, but I think Dabo has earned the right to have a bad season.
Yeah, he's not going to get fired. They shouldn't fire Dabo.
Yeah. He people can be mad at him or whatever, but like it used to be, like Joe Paterno before he got fired, he had like a 4-7 year or whatever. Like that just kind of was accepted. And I'm not saying that Clemson can't do better, that Dabo is near the end of his career, but that, it just seems like give him another couple years and say, look, but under these sort of circumstances, you got to embrace NIL. You got to stop talking about it in this way in public or whatever. Like make him, get up to date, because it reminds me of two guys. Gary Patterson at TCU, when it got near the end for him, and it was just like, oh man, the game has just passed you by. Like, you're the best coach in program history, but we're going to have to move forward without you. And I mean, another guy that we'll probably talk about later, Mike Gundy at Oklahoma State. It's like, oh, okay, the game has passed you by, bro. And like, you're going to either have to get with it or we're going to have to move on without you.
Yeah.
You know what? The interesting thing to me, and not to cut you off.
No, go ahead.
The interesting thing to me is whether or not Dabo feels like he's a Clemson lifer. Because
he's a Bama boy. He's got too much Bama in him.
I know, but you have to think of it like this. It's like, if Dabo thinks that he is going to be at Clemson, he said it in the press conference, I'm only 55 years old. That's super young in coaching, right? But there's nothing to say that Dabo doesn't do the Urban Meyer thing, where it gets too hot for him at one place, or he loses the quarterback that he's connected to in a soulful and very deep way. He leaves there, takes a couple of years off, 1 year off, or doesn't take any years off. And next thing you know, he's at another program that is in need of an elite coach, right? If he is going to do the thing that Joel's talking about, some of the people that Joel's talking about, some of the people you named, Bowden, Paterno, all of these guys that are at a place for all of those times, they are normally a part of the college football upper echelon, but there are those years where they don't achieve. If he's going to stick it out, then he's going to have to deal with the pressure of everybody looking at Clemson in a completely different way than they did in the very recent future. If he can handle that, then he's there for a while. But what's wrong with Dabo? What's wrong with Clemson? What's wrong with Clemson? If Clemson succumbs to some of these other teams and their ascension, I watched Texas Tech today. We talked about it. They look like a real college football contender. They do. They do. And there are not enough players and not enough spots and not enough slots to go around. So the question is not whether or not, to me, Clemson will fire Dabo. The question to me is whether or not Dabo will fire Clemson and move on to greener pastures.
Well, let me ask you all a question then. If your schools, if Brian Kelly, they get tired of Brian Kelly, or, inevitably when Bill Belichick, it's time for him to move, and they were like, all right, we're going to bring in Dabo Swinney. Would you be excited about Dabo Swinney as your new head coach?
Yeah. Yeah. I wouldn't. No, I wouldn't. No.
Yeah.
No. So I would be excited that a coach that's won that much, because Dabo Swinney's done things that Brian Kelly's never done. Right. That a coach that's won that much was in the building. I wouldn't be excited that he has a sort of an archaic view of how to be successful in college football in terms of, what you have to do today.
I feel like a job that he would crush, and it's a little bit off the beaten path, but if he went to Liberty, man, he would crush. He would win so many football games.
The moment you said that, I was like, oh yeah, that is a great fit.
Like if late stage Dabo, that's kind of feels like where he ends up.
That's a good one. That's a
late stage Dabo. But right now, Dabo's in the thick of things. And the good news for Clemson fans, you got basketball. Brad Brownell, he's got a good program running there and making some runs in the tournament. Man, what do you got?
Okay, so there was obviously, and I haven't been paying attention to, climate change is affecting college football, by the way. How many weather delays have we had
everywhere
this week and last week as well? So it looks like this Notre Dame game is still not at the half because of the delay.
Yeah, Purdue game, right?
That score, I thought this was in the second half. Oh shit.
Well, I could be wrong. I'm looking at what's down here at the bottom. It says it looks like it's going in halftime. Right.
You're right.
Yeah, I've been watching the game. The score is 35-23. I have observations. One observation is, whereas if you are watching this game from the Notre Dame perspective, you have to be pretty excited that they're running the ball the way that they are, right? That Jeremiah Love, the backfield, all of that stuff, that they're running the ball the way that they are. However, they've given up 23 points to Purdue at home in the first half. The problems with Notre Dame's defense continue to persist. And I bet you that the Notre Dame post shows that I watch, Irish Breakdown, and all of these different, I bet they're going to be unhappy with what they're seeing on the field right now. I bet they are, man.
Yeah, and I mean, obviously, we're in a situation where they have to win a game. I mean, 0-2. We mentioned on the last show how many times that's happened in the history of this program. But waiting for a weather delay as you're waiting to kind of decide if you have a real team or not, I feel like the angst that's involved in that's pretty much nightmare scenario for every fan base, especially for the Irish right now, right, Joel?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, I don't think I've ever been in a situation where I was in a game where there was a delay, but I can just imagine because yeah, I mean, the way you prep, you spend all week and then you have that whole morning, you're getting ready, you're going through your paces, going through walkthroughs, eating at a specific time, and then all of a sudden you just have to stop. You've built up, you finally got over the nerves of the game. You broke in a sweat. You're just in the flow of the game. And now we got to stop and basically start all over again. And it's a testament to those kids that they can go back out there and pick it up. I mean, they got no choice, but still, it's like something that people don't give them enough credit about.
They getting paid.
Yeah.
Get your ass out on the field and play. It ain't 1997 where you got to, you in the Warby Parker commercial. I don't want to hear it. Get out there and make a play. God damn it.
DJ Lagway's got a Chipotle bowl. You know what I mean?
Go it's different. The college athletes and we got to stay up and we got to study and go to the
gym. I mean, they do have to study.
They do. They got to study they tax returns. And they gotta study these zeros. Get
financial management. Yeah.
Like get on the goddamn field.
Must be 21 or older in present and select states for Kansas in affiliation with Kansas Star Casino, or 18 and older in present in DC, Kentucky, or Wyoming. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit FanDuel.com/RG. Call 1-888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org/chat in Connecticut or visit mdgamblinghelp.org in Maryland. Hope is here. Visit gamblinghelplinema.org or call 800-327-5050 for 24/7 support in Massachusetts, or call 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY in New York.